Please listen carefully.
Well, hello, universe. Welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Summers McKay.
And I'm Kristy Jansen, and we're part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to help make it one focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy, Monday-worthy podcast. Today is Monday, the 15th of February, 2021. Happy Monday the 15th, Kristy. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. I guess it's the third day or fourth day of the new year, if we're counting it with the lunar new year.
Exactly.
That's what we decided, right?
We did, in fact, decide that. And how's your new year going?
So far, so good. It was a good weekend. It was a lot of home time with my hubby, and just enjoying this strange world that we are currently inhabiting.
Well, it was definitely a love weekend, I think, because of the Valentine's Day situation and celebrating Valentine's Day. We wrote an interesting optimist view for Valentine's Day, which I really think that some of the things that we dabbled in were really important. I actually spent a fair amount of time in the car yesterday listening to interviews with love philosophers because NPR was rocking the love stories. And our optimist view, which is delivered to our emissaries, really touched on recognizing that love is an act. Love is not a noun, it's a verb. And I really was kind of thinking through my perspective on love, and I consider myself a junior love philosopher. And I'm like a philosopher in training for love. And one of the most important things for me in understanding love is that love is not, whether it's romantic or friendship or whatever, love is actually not about the other person at all.
Yeah, because every one of us has our own internal experience of the world. You do, your partner does, your children, that's their experience. All we can really feel is our own experience, right? And so that's why my point in our view was in relation to the expressing of love and affection. And that's where you get the most benefit.
Yeah.
Acting loving, expressing your affection in a way that doesn't expect any return necessarily, but just because it's beneficial for you to act out your love.
Exactly. Like the actual act of...
The act of being kind, the act of being sweet, the act of being giving, the act of being affectionate. It boosts your own moods and it makes you connect to your loving self in a way which I find, for me, I forget that sometimes, and to my own peril.
Well, and oftentimes we hear kind of, all you need is love, and these notions of love, which I think can get very confusing when love is about someone else, right? Because when you hear all you need is love, that sounds like that all you need to do is receive it, when in fact it's just give it whether it's received or not. And, this identity politics is almost as dangerous as identity relationships. Right?
If he loves me or she loves me.
Exactly.
And
if
I'm
he
okay.
Or she, if he or she loves me in the way that I need to be loved, and it's instead sort of this disassociation with how others receive or deliver love, and instead just completely about how you give it. And give it to yourself and give it to others. And I just...
And accept it graciously. And to accept love graciously is another thing that a lot of us don't have very easily. Accepting when it comes to you without feeling like you owe it back. Even, it's not a transactional kind of emotion.
Right. Exactly. It has no transaction. So you oftentimes see on cards and pillows the phrase "love you more." And I sort of bristle whenever I see "love you more," or used to bristle whenever I see "love you more," because for me, I was like, it's not a competition. I don't want to say I love you more than you love me, But then this year, so I actually gave my husband a Valentine's card that said "love you more." And the reason is that right now where we are in our lives, I love him more than he loves himself.
Mm.
And I know that I wanted to encourage him to love himself as much as I do,
Hmm.
and to see in himself the good that I see.
Mhm.
And it changed what has always been something that I bristled against, this competitive love you more notion, to this gift of, let me show you how much I love you, and perhaps you can love yourself more too. Yeah. So I would like
That's
to thank,
beautiful.
yeah, I'd
That's
like to
that's
thank
beautiful.
you, Kristy, for encouraging me to revisit my junior love philosophy intentions with this past weekend's Optimist View.
Along with love, I think one of the other really fun things to reattach to in our adult lives is probably play.
Yes.
And I think I'm going to lob it back to you to
Okay.
spotlight your headline from today's headlines.
Yes. So play, I think, is so important. And I spent the weekend playing. My little mermaid unicorn pod threw me a week late birthday party of a rock painting garden party in one of my friends' magical backyard gardens. And we were just marveling about the joy we feel in acting like creative, artistic, playful, silly beings with various levels of artistic capacity. But Lego has recognized this is a very real thing. And my headline reads, Lego launches botanical collection complete with plant-based building blocks. So we all have a lot of fond memories of using Legos as building blocks. There are also a lot of parents who have not so fond memories of stepping on
Yeah.
Legos. But toys like Legos and coloring books have made this huge comeback while people are confined to their houses. Lego really presents kids and adults alike with this opportunity to return to imagination, creativity, and like puzzling, which we've talked about puzzling as a solution during this quarantine, Lego has really seen a rise. Well, what they did, Lego conducted a research study and noted that 81% of adults worldwide find that play relieves them from stress. And 73% of adults look for creative ways to de-stress weekly. There's a lot of online gaming that happens as far as de-stressing. Candy Crush is like sort of one of the, the gamification of stress release is where Candy Crush kind of came from. But Lego also took us out of our phones and has put us back into building blocks. So they have what's called the Botanical Collection. It's a flower bouquet, a bonsai tree. They both retail for about $50. And the flower bouquet, which is so going to be on my list, has 756 pieces that come with adjustable flower stems, grass, and a variety of artificial flowers such as daisies, poppies, and roses. And then, of course, the bonsai set is even more complex at 878 pieces. I just love this. Like, I feel like I'm doing a commercial for Lego right now, which
You
I'm not.
kind of are. You kind of are, but so
But it's just delightful. And I just think that the tactical way of playing, if you're not an artist, if you don't like coloring books, but if you like building blocks, I just think this is really, really a wonderful solution from Lego to help adults and children alike
you know what
return
I
to play.
you know what I love about this? Even though they're not edible. These these pieces, they're created out of sustainably sourced sugarcane. That's the fiber that's used to make the plastic. And I just think that's kind of fun. So it's like candy and play for adults.
Yep.
And yes, you're making flowers or mini trees, but it's the act of creating and that creative expression which gets you back to that sense of wonder, that childish sense of wonder, which I think is such an important
Yeah.
thing to be attached to as an adult, to feel awe, and that brings you close to joy. And so I love this story.
Well,
And
what else brings us joy,
well,
Kristy?
speaking of awe and wonder and play, for me, one of the animals that I imagine or think of when I think of play and awe is dolphin. And dolphins, growing up sailing, I loved it whenever we would end up with a pod of dolphins
Mm-hmm.
playing in the wake of our boat. And I could sit for hours just watching them ride the waves. And I find dolphin, they're very smart. They're very interesting. You always love to see them when you do. So the story I wanted to talk about is how communities in Pakistan are protecting the rare Indus dolphin. The rarest dolphin species in the world lives in the Indus River. in Pakistan, and they were facing extinction as recently as 2001, when their numbers had dropped to about 1,200 individuals. And recently, they've had a pretty significant conservation campaign in Pakistan involving local and global partners, and they've managed to increase the dolphin population by about 50%. So it's still risky, but it's getting better.
Yeah.
It's better. And what's happening is the Worldwide Fund for Nature, WWF, in Pakistan, in collaboration with provincial wildlife and fisheries departments, are training watchers along the river to help catch illegal fishers. There are conservation efforts in local communities to try to clean up the habitat. The river is negatively impacted by the pollution based on the cities and infrastructure projects right along the river. And so that's part of what's been depleting the dolphin populations. But local communities find value in these beautiful creatures that share our natural world. I just felt like this was a nice spotlight on how collaborating with sort of a global NGO like the World Wildlife Fund and local communities really is a good partnership to help bring awareness to an animal like a dolphin in an impacted area. And it's still challenging. I mean, there's still a problem with illegal fishing. And part of that is they electrify the water, which stuns all the fish. And then they can go and harvest whatever they find, including dolphin. And just too many people sometimes along the edge of the river, also using dams and reservoirs that can threaten the food sources and just the free flow of the dolphins. So trying to figure out ways to support the local fish populations, even when you're using the water flow for storing energy. So there's challenges, but I feel like it is impressive how much this one area of Pakistan has really stepped up to try to protect these glorious creatures, which are the dolphin. So that's why play made me think of dolphins. And
dolphins are the most joyous of creatures. I love watching them as well.
So why don't we just move on and read through our headlines and just finish out the day. All right. About play. We've got to move to our playful staff meeting.
We do, exactly. So we have a playful staff meeting to head to. Go ahead, Kristy, read us a fefew headlines from today.
The lead story today is how Safe Families, which is an organization, is keeping kids out of the foster care system. There's also an article about Fair Housing Act, which is now including protections for LGBTQ plus individuals. There's some tips on 7 different plants with super air purifying powers. That's for our plant lovers out there. The ozone hole is on track to close within 50 years. Positive from our atmospheric science there.
Great news.
Dirty Labs is removing water polluting chemicals from laundry detergents. This is another clean company called Dirty Labs, which I love.
Right? We have a lot of kind of clean company initiatives today, right? So then it goes to Legos, which we talked about. Coca-Cola is going to test a fully recyclable paper bottle in Hungary, which is fantastic. And Alex Trebek, whom we love and miss, his wardrobe is donated to a professional development nonprofit. And then last but not least, could mushroom bricks replace cement? We're big fans of mushrooms around here at the Optimist Daily.
We are. And alternative kinds of bricks. We talked about plastic bricks last week. So maybe mushroom bricks. Either way, we can build back better.
Exactly. All right, everybody, we've got to roll to our staff meeting. Thank you for listening to the Optimist Daily Update. We promise to continue to share positive solution-based stories with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world and ensure it is changed for the good. Consider becoming an emissary on theoptimistdaily.com, and for just $5 a month, support reader-funded independent journalism. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and we will see you tomorrow.